Today, I'm restoring this old, crusty cast iron skillet, and I'll show you step by step how you can do the same thing at home. Along the way, I hope to answer 3 important questions. Why is vintage cast iron so desirable? What's it worth? And can you really restore it in just a few simple steps? Vintage cast iron is prized for its smooth cooking surface, durability, and ability to retain heat and cook food evenly. With proper care, it can continue improving with use and last for generations. Restore one of these pans once, and you could have a dependable piece of cookware for the rest of your life. They also make meaningful, practical gifts that can be passed down, and many great examples can still be found for less than $100. The first thing you want to do once you find a skillet you wish to restore is inspect it. You'll want to make sure the base is flat. It shouldn't spin when you turn the handle. It's also not a bad idea to inspect the pan for any cracks. A cracked cast iron skillet won't heat evenly, which can lead to inconsistent cooking results. If you knock on the pan, you should hear a high-pitched pinging sound. A dull thud may indicate a crack somewhere. I purchased this large skillet for $35, but most I've found over the years have been much closer to $5 to $10. One of the first things you'll need is a container large enough to completely submerge the skillet. I like to use this fish tank I found for $10 in a local thrift store. It's a much better way to see the electrolysis in action, but you could also use a large plastic tote. I'll do my best to list these items in the video description, but some of the other items you'll need besides the skillet include steel sheets, an old manual battery charger, 18-gauge wire with alligator clamps, a few scrub brushes, oil, and some sodium carbonate. I'll add approximately 1.5 cups of sodium carbonate for every 5 gallons of water. It helps to use warm water so the sodium carbonate dissolves faster while stirring, but it's not necessary. It's best to stir this often so the sodium carbonate doesn't clump up at the bottom of the tank. I often find these old skillets for $5 to $10 a piece, and once refurbished, many of them sell for well over $100 in my area. That certainly depends on the maker and the size of the pan. More importantly, I enjoy giving these as gifts for special occasions. The most rewarding part of this entire process for me today is actually refurbishing a skillet like this one, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I'll place one bare steel welding sheet on each side of the tank. I picked these up from the hardware store for about $6 each. I'll then connect the 2 sheets with 18-gauge wire. These are considered to be the sacrificial anodes for the electrolysis, and you'll soon see why. I'll connect a copper hook to the handle and fully submerge the skillet into the tank, making sure the skillet is not making contact with the tank. I'll then connect the negative clamp to the cathode, which is the skillet, and the positive clamp to the anode, which is the steel sheets. It's only then that I actually plug in the battery charger, and I want the settings to be at 12 volts and 4 to 8 amps. I'll regularly check the charger and the cords to make sure they're not getting too hot. At this point, you should immediately see the electrolysis in action. Electrolysis is a chemical process that uses electrical current to drive a non-spontaneous reaction. In rust removal, it's used to convert iron oxide, or rust, back into a pure iron, or to at least loosen it from the surface so it can be removed easily. In a clear tank, there's no question this is happening, and it's very satisfying, but that's not even the best part. I'll let this work for at least 12 hours, or in this case, overnight, and see how much progress I've made by morning. While I continue working, I want to show you a few things I purchased recently. I just got back from another trip through parts of the Midwest, specifically Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. I stopped at a few stores along the way and found several amazing pieces for my workshop. Over the last year, I've put on about 3,000 miles per month on the truck, and I've recently discovered something that really helps. I've been using the Upside app to save 25 cents to 30 cents a gallon on gas wherever I go. This video is sponsored by Upside, the free app that gives you real cash back on gas, groceries, and dining. So here's how it works. Before you get gas or grab food, you just open the app, claim the offer, pay like you normally would with your credit card or your debit card, and then you just earn cash back. It's literally that simple. This is real cash you can transfer to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. A lot of people use Upside for gas, but you can also get cash back at restaurants and grocery stores too. Some users earn up to 25 to 30 cents per gallon on gas and stack it with their normal credit card rewards. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you could earn, download the free Upside app and use promo code MADCITY to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code MADCITY. Thank you, Upside, for making this restoration possible. A lye bath is one of the best ways to strip old seasoning, grease, and baked-on carbon from a cast iron skillet, but it doesn't remove rust, so if your skillet is rusty, you'll typically do the lye bath first, then remove rust with electrolysis or a vinegar solution. Electrolysis is the only method that I have used to refurbish old cast iron. The next morning, I pulled the skillet from the tank, and just look at the way that all the old seasoning and carbon just peels right off. To clean this, I'll place the pan in a tub of warm water and add dish detergent, then scrub with a soft brush. With cast iron you use daily, it's generally not a good idea to clean with dish detergent, but it's not as harmful to the layers of seasoning as you might think. Removing the seasoning was a much bigger problem back when lye was used more often in dish soaps. You can also use various chainmail scrubbers to scrape away the layers of thick seasoning that still remain. If you've restored cast iron skillets before, then you might understand that the most rewarding part of this entire process is often actually refurbishing a skillet like this one today, one that is used daily and has already created so many amazing memories with my family. The sacrificial steel sheets are intended to pull the grease and grime from the pan, and in this case they've done just that. I found that I can often just scrape the sheets and reuse them for other pans. Unfortunately for this skillet, one round of electrolysis didn't yield the results I was hoping for, and that'll happen sometimes. The next day, I tried round 2 and it certainly helped. There are millions of old cast iron skillets still being used today, and it would be impossible to discuss the styles, values, and all the cleaning techniques, but I was in an antique store recently and found something. I didn't purchase the item, but thought it would be fun to show you one of the most expensive skillets I've ever seen. A new old stock, number 5, chrome-plated Griswold skillet with all the original stickers still intact, for only $1,200. Once clean, I'll quickly wipe the skillet dry with a clean cloth before any rust has a chance to flash over. Then I'll proceed to scrub the skillet with both SOS wool pads and Mr. Clean magic erasers. This step is crucial, and you'll see just how much carbon this process removes. These should be the final steps before I begin seasoning the skillet. Finally, I'll give the skillet a quick rinse, wipe it dry, and then apply avocado oil. Avocado oil might be a healthier option for the seasoning, but I've since switched to using canola oil, and I've had much better results. Seasoning is a process known as polymerization, which is where smaller molecules combine to form larger molecules. In the case of cast iron seasoning, the oil molecules combine and bond together, creating a tough, durable layer. I'll wipe on very thin coats of oil, remove as much as possible with a clean cloth, Then place the skillet upside down in the oven for about an hour at around 450 degrees. This step gets repeated at least 4 to 5 times until I'm happy with the seasoning. Here's a good book you might consider buying if you're trying to identify a lot of old cast iron skillets. With a ridge below the handle and double spouts, I believe this one to be a skillet made by Birmingham Stove and Range. This skillet didn't turn out perfect. In fact, I discovered a hairline crack in the pan halfway through the project. But that's okay. I continue to learn more with each piece I refurbish, and this skillet gets used almost daily. The memories created around cooking with this specific skillet are priceless, and no amount of money in the world could bring that amount of joy. My name is Barry, and I'd love to hear some of your own stories in the comments. I look forward to seeing you again very soon with another restoration project. Goodbye for now.